katahimikan, hindi ang kawalan ng paggalang para kanino man. Subalit, katahimikang may paggagalang at katarungan para sa lahat. Maaring hindi magtagumpay ang ating mga inisyatibo at alam na natin ito. Subalit bago ang lahat, ay dapat nating alisin ang lahat ng pag-aalinlangan. Patuloy akong kampante sa isiping makakamtan natin ang kapayapaan at katahimikan sa buong panahon ng aking panunungkulan. Subalit kailangan natin ang tulong ng lahat, ng bawat isa. I have faith that peace will come if those who believe in peace will only band together. That is why it is so important that we recognize the value of this project that so dramatizes the universal desire for peace. I have always been a firm advocate of peace. Perhaps it is only the tragedy of conflict that teaches us the true value of peace. Let us, who are the loyal friends of peace, continue to resist the temptation to exploit the conflicts of our neighbors. The real challenge is to achieve peace by the ways of peace. This is the best assurance that it will last and serve as the foundation for the national cooperation that is needed to restore my country's wasted fortunes. I ask you to share with me the hope and prayers that I will succeed. As I came to power peacefully, so shall I keep it. This is my contract with my people and my commitment to God. The way of nonviolence had not exhausted itself in the struggle for Filipino freedom. It has the potential to give our nation a lasting and honorable peace as well. Peace has a chance in our country. We have all made a great investment individually and as a people in order to see it work. And so I urge you to do two things. Stop hedging. Go back to the bravery of our epic struggle that concluded in the return of our freedoms. To that attitude when no one speculated, everyone dared, and democracy triumphed. And secondly, go out and campaign vigorously for the overwhelming ratification of this Constitution. You can do so not only out of expediency, because it will buy us peace of mind, but also because this Constitution has great merits on its own. I have said democracy is safe with this Constitution, safe in regard to the necessary institutions of a democracy, safe in regard to the inalienable and indispensable rights and liberties of a free people. I appeal to all our people to renew their sense of brotherhood, to reaffirm the spirit of reconciliation that animated our struggle for freedom. Sa makatwid, ibinigay ng February Revolution sa bansang ito ang isang makasaysayan at kakaibang lugar sa mundo sa pamamagitan ng pagsilbi bilang isang modelo para sa matahimik at di marahas na solusyon sa mga problema. And so, let me be clear. There is no room in the new Philippines for those who will not accept the ways of democracy. While I am anxious to resolve the communist insurgency bloodlessly, I will not tolerate a non-democratic challenge to our government and people from any quarter. When a handful of drunken Marcos supporters set up court for a few days at the Manila Hotel, the military, as a reflex action, brought up artillery. I could have drowned their revels in its thunder and still have been widely applauded for it. Instead, I talked them out of their silliness. We are now pursuing economic policies to allow the majority of the Filipinos the opportunity to prosper rather than to extend more privileges to a small minority to allow them to become richer. We are withdrawing government from commercial activities, cognizant of the need for government to devote its fiscal and human resources to problems of higher social priority, and admitting that private enterprise has greater competence and built-in drives to efficiency for industry, commerce, and finance. I am glad to note that the country's financial indicators have improved. The foreign exchange rate has held steady for the last 6 months. Bank interest rates have come down to below 15%, lower than they have been in many years. Foreign exchange reserves exceed 4 months' import requirements. Non-tariff barriers to imports are being removed on a programmed basis. For democracy to endure and prevail against its natural enemies, it must excite the deepest loyalties of the common people. And it can do that only if it reflects their fundamental aspirations and answers their basic needs. When democracy has become so much a part of their lives as to constitute the very foundation of their dignity and well-being, then and only then can we be certain that it will endure. Perhaps this vision of democratic freedoms, fleshed out by material progress and perfected by the equitable distribution of its fruits, is Christian socialist. Call it what you want, it is what the revolution of 1986 stands for and what I stand committed to. It was Ninoy who conceptualized, embraced, and promoted the philosophy of reconciliation and nonviolence that became the moving force of our bloodless February Revolution. It was also Ninoy who was the first rallying point of people's power that propelled me to the presidency, keeps me there, and determines the course our nation is taking today. To be free, you can, as a people, effectively appeal to international standards of human rights set by others, such as the United Nations. Yet, in the end, to vindicate those rights, to achieve freedom, you are on your own. If there is one tactic that served us above all others in our movement for freedom, it was espousing a program of action that kept us united. In our case, this meant the use of nonviolence and constant vigilance against the provocation of the authorities. And so, as the leader of a country which has this year enjoyed the sweet taste of freedom, again let me reconfirm our support, both for what the UN at its best stands for, the peace, freedom, dignity, and partnership of mankind. But let me also serve warning to those denied freedom and dignity. Don't look beyond yourselves to find them. People must be masters of their own fate. The Filipino people have known and been grateful for liberation at the hands of others. In 1898, a liberation that was swiftly betrayed, and in 1946, one which we promptly wasted. Yet now, having known the exhilaration of throwing off our bonds ourselves, I think every Filipino would agree there is only one real liberation. Only a people already sovereign in their hearts and deeds can win and keep their independence and freedom. This is not a pessimistic conclusion because additionally, I believe that no government can indefinitely resist a people united against it. It may have the guns, the goons, and the gold, yet as we found in the Philippines, there is no government that can indefinitely resist a people determined to be free. This is not a matter of economic development alone, for the process of growing as a society and as a nation involves many facets of development. Nor is it a matter of growth just for the sake of growth, for to pursue such a course is to pursue no course at all. Rather, we are seeking to develop in a manner consistent with the fundamental values of our race and culture, informed by the sad lessons of our recent past, and adapted to the challenges of the future. In the birth of ASEAN, we have seen the association of member nations determined to provide for the stability and peace of the region and the prosperity and happiness of its peoples. Further, we each strive for the creation of an order in the world which is based on independence, abiding peace, and social justice. It is said that Indonesia is a fighting nation, a nation of fighters committed to upholding the ideals of the nation. These ideals emerged from Indonesia's struggle for independence, even as its fighting spirit was tempered in the fires of that struggle. We too have known the suffering of external intervention, and we have recently emerged from our own struggle to remain true to ourselves and to the aspirations that underlie our society. And we recognize that this is part of a struggle that has no end, because it is in striving to realize ideals that we mark our progress as a nation. All we did was kick out a small group who had twisted a one-strong economy to their own ends, and in doing so, destroyed all the components of a liberal capitalist economy, a free market system, a liberal framework for investment, the rule of law, and labor management relations oriented toward the shared aim of both sectors for progress and equity. I now stand before you, holding the reins of a free republic. We have emerged from a turmoil that brought us to the edge of calamity, but that has provided us with a renewed faith in our capacity to overcome our problems and realize the full potential of our nation. There are many ways to run a country, but there is only one way to treat people, with decency and respect for their uniqueness as individuals. The revolution that restored freedom and dignity to our nation was both Christian and democratic, and in the brotherhood of danger that we all willingly shared, a measure of socialism had been attained. We had equally divided the risk and responsibility of democracy to enjoy in equal measure the blessings of freedom. With Ninoy, I believe in democracy and in the primacy of Christian values. I share the same high regard for political power as a sacred trust to be held for the benefit of the people. And I believe that freedom of the individual is all important and ranks above everything else. I regard all human life as equally priceless, regardless of the circumstances. I hold individual freedom most sacred